especially if you're talking about education in Indonesia. When you're talking about the condition of education in our country, I can say that it's truly in an emergency state. There are so many issues in terms of these three important pillars. We have issues with access. If you're only looking at the data, we have around 68 million children who are actually at a school age group, but only 45 million of them are actually at school. We have a very high literacy rate. Like it will be really rare to find someone who don't actually know the alphabet, but we have really low reading comprehension level. And that explains the quality. And when you're talking about quality issues, we're talking about a very big gap between what Indonesian students achieve compared to what other students in other countries achieve. If you're only looking into one very simple data, the result of the PISA international test, our average score right now is around 400, while the scores of more developed countries like Singapore or South Korea is around 520. And the average increase of point for a country each year is around 1 point. So that means even to take us to the level of where the other countries are, it will take us around 120 years to be able to be in the same standard of where they are now. And that's assuming they don't move up at all, which is impossible, of course. And again, that's why you really need a foolish romantic who actually believe that we can accelerate the process of enhancing the quality of education that our students are getting now. Equity and equality is another issue. There are huge gaps between a certain percentage of students or children who are actually gaining enough support for their education compared to other students who still have problems. But what I actually believe about this is that all students, all children in Indonesia are now actually disadvantaged. Because when you're talking about students who need to go through a very worn out bridge to go to schools, and another group of students in the big city who need to go through all the bad traffic for hours to go to school. You cannot really compare which one are at more disadvantage, right? Because they're both at disadvantage, although they are at different settings. So I think when you're talking about accelerating access, quality, and equality, we don't only talk about students or children at remote areas, but us even in Jakarta, and I'm sure some of you can actually tell your experience that you're probably one of the disadvantaged students, not knowing where to go after college, not really sure about whether you have explored your passion enough, etc. Next, please.